All right, guys, Christian Duke from StrengthAddicts.com. We're here at Brighton Powerhouse with IFBB Pro Joe Romine. He's also your 2012 North American Heavyweight Champion. And we're going to get started by just asking you some basic information. Just want to know your name, your age, want to go with the height, and also the contest weight and the off-season weight if you have an off-season.
Yeah. What's up, guys? It's after the North Americans. Currently right now I'm like 230. Typically I'll get up to about 250 off season. Competed at North Americans when I won my pro card at 212, which hopefully those numbers are climbing here in the near future. I just started an off season program about a week ago, and we're going to get things moving for my first pro show.
Okay, and where are you from? Are you, like, what city are you from?
I grew up in Dexter, which is, I don't know, 20 miles from here. I live in Pinckney, which is just outside of Brighton. This is kind of my home gym. I do train all over the place, but this is kind of where I like to train
okay.
most of the time.
And a lot of people in the industry, they talk about Branch Warren as the people's champion, but you're also kind of a working class bodybuilding champion. So why don't you tell us, what you do for a living, that you actually have a real job, and talk to us about that.
Yeah, I'm a union plumber. I've been a union plumber for 11 years, and every show I've ever competed in, I've also been working in the field doing the same thing. Started competing in 2004 at the Nashville, Michigan, and basically tried to do a show every year from then on. And I always worked. It's not easy. It's a struggle. It's not my most favorite thing to do, but it's something that I got to do. Everybody thinks that, oh, he's a pro bodybuilder, they don't got to work, but that's not true. We all got to work too.
Definitely. And piggybacking off that, like, when did you actually start lifting? Like, what inspired you to get in the gym and just start pumping iron?
Yeah, well, I was a high school football player, so they kind of encouraged us to work out, but, I didn't necessarily work out because of football. I worked out because I liked it. I started training when I was in 8th grade, and just kind of worked out with these old plastic sand weights that my parents bought me. And, as I progressed through high school, I definitely grew and grew and grew, and it was clearly that I was a football player, but the way my physique was coming out was a bodybuilding physique, and I think everybody's kind of addicted to magazines at that age, and I was addicted to Muscle and Fitness and MD. So as my body developed more and looked like a bodybuilder, it was pretty clear that's what I wanted to do. And I think I graduated around 18, and by 21 I was in my first NGA Nashville, Michigan show, and I won that.
Very cool. Joe, a lot of people, especially in bodybuilding, they're always fixated on the weights, high intensity, high volume, and they're looking at supplements, but people don't realize how important nutrition is. And I wish you could talk to us a little bit about nutrition and working with Dave Palumbo and what that's done for you and your success in bodybuilding.
Right, yeah. The biggest part of the sport is dedication. It's being dedicated to the sport, and by being dedicated, you have to eat. And you have to eat the right stuff, and you have to eat all the time. You can't just eat regular gas station. You can't eat when you decide to be hungry. You got to eat. Yeah, you gotta consistently eat, and it has to be the correct foods, the foods that work for you. There's not something that I don't do throughout the entire day that isn't to make me better as a bodybuilder. And I worked with Palumbo for the first time. I've never really worked with anyone. I worked. All the other shows, my closest friend that I graduated with, Nate Hoppy, who his wife's an IFBB pro, Jackie Swain Hoppy. I've always worked with him. He lives in Alabama, and he did my diets. Until this last time I talked to him, I said, let's try something different. I'm going to work with Palumbo. My training partner in Brighton here, Erskine Presley, kind of convinced me to do it. And got with Dave, really close to the North Americans, which was like 10 weeks out, which I really wasn't planning on competing until Erskine kind of harassed me into it, and got with Palumbo, and Palumbo did all my prep for this, and obviously it was a very smart thing to do. He's great.
Yeah, he is great, and but everybody's heard about him. Like, how bad was it as far as carbs go? Did he let you have any carbs? Did you?
Yeah, my physique's a lot different than a lot of people. I'm lean all year round, and so I did get carbs. I got carbs going all the way. I think, I won the Central States show, which is what qualified me to go to North Americans. And so that was 8 weeks out from when we started. And all the way until that Central States, I had carbs all the way in my diet. And I got to say, probably the first 5 weeks of the diet, I couldn't even tell I was on a diet, which is completely not consistent with all my other shows. The second I start dieting is the second I start feeling exhausted. When I got with Dave, the diet was great, and for a while I was like, man, something's not right because I feel too good to be on a diet. Once we got closer to Central States, I started feeling sluggish, and then after Central States, we kind of assessed where I needed to be in 3 more weeks to try and compete for a pro card, and at that point we went no carb. And yeah, it's a struggle, but it's something you got to do. You don't really have a choice. It depends on your willpower.
Right. You wanted to win, and you did. Now, as far as the NPC here in Michigan, talk to us about how the Central States was put on, what you thought of it, and what it felt like winning the overall title there that qualified you for the North Americans.
Yeah, the Central States. Well, I mean, NPC in Michigan's great. I think this year I heard a number. We were the 4th largest state to sell the 4th most NPC cards in the country. There's a lot of bodybuilders in the state, and a lot of the shows are pretty big. And Central States is just another big show that Romine puts on, and it's a Class A show, like a lot of these shows. And I mean, I knew I was pretty comfortable with going into Central States. My buddy Tim Liggins was going there, so he's a heavyweight too. We were both trying to get to North Americans. Unfortunately, he got 3rd. He didn't make it, but he is qualified. He's hitting nationals in a few weeks. Central States, it's a big show. I never competed in it. I got to go there. Luckily, things went the way that I wanted them to. I took the overall, and you kind of take the motivation and keep building it to build you up for the next show. It always is nice to compete and to go what you went to do.
And yeah, that's awesome. I saw the pictures on rxmuscle.com. You looked amazing. And to close out the interview, if you just tell us what you have planned for the rest of the year competitively, and talk to us about any sponsors that might want to work with you, what you're looking for. What does the future hold for you?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm not sponsored. I've been with a major company in the past a few years ago, about 2.5 years. Currently right now I've just got some emails going. I got a few things in the works, nothing set in stone yet. So I'm looking to work with somebody for some exposure in the sport. I'm hoping to get in a pro show sometime, maybe in the spring, early summer next year. Kind of make a debut then. My off season started right now, so I'm going to have all winter to grow and to get big and to get better. And it's possible I could jump in a 212 show because at North Americans I was around 208, so 212 isn't out of the question, but it kind of depends on what my physique does here in the wintertime. It's not going to, nothing's set in stone as far as 212s are open, so, that's all.
Definitely. All right, well, we're going to keep our eye on you. Thank you so much for talking to us. I'm Christian Duke from StrengthAddicts.com for Joe Romine here at Brighton Powerhouse. Take care.